The problems of Frank Worthington have finally come to light, and now his daughter has broken her silence about the heartbreaking truth behind the football legend's final years. When Frank Worthington passed away in 2021 at the age of 72, the football world mourned the loss of one of its most colourful characters. But behind the glamorous image of the man they called the last Maverick of English football lay a series of struggles that would shock even his closest fans. In 2016, Worthington's daughter made a controversial claim on social media that her father had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Frank himself quickly denied this, insisting he only had short-term memory impairment. But after his death, the tragic truth emerged when his widow Carol confirmed that he had indeed been battling dementia for the last 5 years of his life, along with prostate cancer. The stories that once defined this legendary showman were slowly being taken away by the very illness he had tried to hide. Frank Stuart Worthington was born into a footballing family in Shelf, a village near Halifax in Yorkshire. His passion for the game came naturally, inherited from his parents and 2 older brothers, who both became professional footballers. When he turned professional with Huddersfield Town in November 1966, he began forging a reputation that would make him unforgettable. His early success was remarkable, helping the Terriers win the Second Division Championship in the 1969-70 season, playing all 42 games and scoring 18 goals. What made Worthington special wasn't just his talent, but his distinctive style. He had quick feet, was strong on the ball, and possessed an uncanny ability to see a pass and find the goal. But it was his personality that truly set him apart. His former manager, Ian Greaves, famously called him the working man's George Best, a comparison that perfectly captured his brilliant talent alongside his non-conformist lifestyle. If you're enjoying learning about this football legend and want to hear more incredible stories like this, make sure to subscribe and let us know in the comments what you think about Frank's unique approach to the beautiful game. Worthington's play was marked by a joyous disregard for convention. He was known for playing without shin guards and with his socks rolled down to his ankles, a casual defiance of the more rugged English game that only amplified his appeal. Former England manager Joe Mercer called him one of the best centre-forwards of all time, but his public image was equally powerful, transforming him into a cultural figure who transcended sport. His public persona was carefully crafted and celebrated. Worthington was known for his love of clothes, fast cars, and his obsession with mimicking Elvis Presley, earning him the nickname Elvis. His devotion to the king of rock and roll was so intense that he would often show up to training sessions dressed as Presley. One memorable story tells of former Bolton manager Ian Greaves growing so tired of Elvis hits blaring from the team coach that he ripped the cassette from the player and threw it onto the autobahn, causing Worthington to give him the silent treatment for the rest of the trip. Beyond fashion, Worthington was a self-proclaimed lover of the high life, known for dating models and beauty queens. When a football magazine asked him to name his previous clubs, he famously replied, "The Playboy, Tramps and Sandpiper," before listing birdwatching among his hobbies. His humour and carefree attitude made him incredibly popular with supporters wherever he played. Despite his wild reputation, former teammates remembered him as a genuine and lovely bloke, so down to earth. The summer of 1972 brought what should have been the defining moment of Worthington's career. At 24, and at the peak of his powers, he was on the verge of a dream transfer to Liverpool, managed by the legendary Bill Shankly. The prospect of Worthington joining forces with Kevin Keegan had Merseyside buzzing with excitement. He was even photographed at Anfield with Shankly, assistant manager Bob Paisley, and club secretary Peter Robinson, seemingly ready to write his name into Liverpool folklore. But fate had other plans. Worthington failed his medical due to high blood pressure, threatening to derail the entire deal. Shankly, determined to get his man, devised what seemed like a practical solution. He sent Worthington on holiday to Majorca for a week, hoping the sun and relaxation would lower his blood pressure for a second medical examination. Worthington's idea of relaxation, however, proved utterly incompatible with Shankly's intentions. Instead of resting quietly, he embarked on a week of what reports described as roistering and a number of sexual encounters. The legendary tales from that week include spending time with Miss Great Britain and 2 Swedish women. When he returned to Merseyside, his blood pressure was even higher than before. The transfer collapsed spectacularly, with Liverpool's doctors reportedly describing him as sexually hyperactive, a label Worthington would later wear, like a badge of honour. This failed transfer became more than just a missed opportunity. It was a perfect reflection of Worthington's entire approach to life, where his personality and lifestyle were always in direct competition with conventional success. While he initially told himself it was their loss, Worthington would later admit that not joining Liverpool was by far my biggest regret, acknowledging it cost him the chance to play for a team challenging for titles. Despite this setback, Worthington went on to have a remarkable career, spanning 22 consecutive Football League seasons from 1966 to 1987. He represented more than 20 clubs, including teams in America, Sweden and South Africa, making 757 English League appearances and scoring 234 goals. His career achievements were substantial. Beyond helping Huddersfield win promotion, he later helped Bolton Wanderers claim the second division title in 1978, even scoring the winning goal that secured promotion. His crowning individual achievement came the following season when he finished as the leading goalscorer in the First Division, winning the Golden Boot Award ahead of stars like Kenny Dalglish and Frank Stapleton. But perhaps his most memorable moment came in April 1979, when he scored what became known as the goal of a generation for Bolton against Ipswich Town. The spectacular strike, which won goal of the season, involved Worthington receiving the ball with his back to goal, juggling it with a series of flicks, then turning to fire a powerful shot into the bottom corner. The goal was so iconic that former Ipswich defender Terry Butcher told him, if he had been standing on the terracing with the supporters, he might have had a better view of it. Despite his immense talent, Worthington's international career was surprisingly limited. He earned only 8 caps for England in 1974 while playing for Leicester City, scoring 2 goals. His flamboyant style and notorious off-field reputation made international football considered much too serious for eccentrics, an unwelcoming environment for his type of player. The final years of Worthington's life presented a heartbreaking contrast to his glamorous heyday. After his playing career ended, he initially found success on the after-dinner speaking circuit, entertaining audiences with his legendary stories. However, these engagements eventually stopped as his health began declining. The man who had lived so boldly was facing battles he couldn't charm his way through. The illness was compounded by devastating financial struggles. Worthington had been declared bankrupt after returning from his playing days in America due to a large unpaid tax bill. His wife Carol also faced bankruptcy as they struggled to stay afloat. This financial hardship wasn't sudden, but rather a long-term consequence of playing in the pre-Premier League era, when professional contracts weren't as lucrative and post-career financial planning was often non-existent. The most poignant detail of his final years was their complete dependence on Carol's role as his full-time carer. As his dementia worsened over those last 5 years, the carer benefits became their only source of income. When Frank passed away, that income stopped immediately, leaving Carol in what she described as a terribly bleak financial position. She was subsequently forced to sell their family home in Huddersfield, a stark final image for a man who had once been a symbol of footballing glamour. Yet, even in these dark times, the football community showed its true character. The Professional Footballers Association, through Chief Executive Gordon Taylor, provided assistance to the family. A Just Giving page was launched on the day of his funeral to raise money for dementia charities and provide financial support for Carol. The community response included a charity walk from Leeds to Halifax in his memory to raise funds for the Alzheimer's Society. The outpouring of tributes following Worthington's passing revealed the depth of affection he had inspired. Carol perfectly captured his legacy, stating that he brought joy to so many people throughout his career and in his private life. Former Leicester City and England striker Gary Lineker called him his boyhood hero. describing him as a beautiful footballer, a maverick, and a wonderful character. Former teammate Peter Reid remembered him as a genius and gentleman who loved his life and was always the last to leave the training ground. Worthington's legacy isn't defined by the trophies he didn't win, but by his status as one of English football's last true mavericks. In an era that celebrated individuality, he played as much for his own pleasure as for the crowd's entertainment. His story stands as a vibrant reminder of when players were entertainers and individuals, when a single player's unpredictable magic could inspire an entire generation. The story of Frank Worthington offers a powerful contrast to today's game, which is increasingly dominated by statistics and corporate professionalism. His appeal was rooted in the sheer spectacle and entertainment he brought to every match, making him a player fans eagerly paid to watch not for guaranteed results, but for the magic he might create. While his lifestyle may have limited his professional achievements, it also defined the very character that made him so beloved. When Frank Worthington passed away, football didn't just lose a talented player, it lost one of its last true originals. He remains an unforgettable legend whose name still brings smiles and stories nearly half a century after his heyday. If this story of football's most colourful character has moved you, please like this video and subscribe for more incredible tales from the beautiful game's most fascinating personalities.